projects you have undertaken to improve our community? What tangible results have these efforts achieved, and how do you plan to build on them in the future?
Well, okay, this might be a long one. So going in 2021, like I said, the city of Pana had no economic development of any kind. In researching cities, every single city that I looked at and studied had an economic development department, and it's been in place for years and it actively pursued business. We had to look at like why Pana wasn't making it when other towns were. And the answer was pretty simple. It was because that we just didn't have any business coming in. We didn't have anything new coming in. We didn't have any tourism coming in. So creating an economic development department started that catalyst, and it started that search for economic development and new businesses coming to Pana to say, hey, we're open and we want you here. That was a big initiative. That took a lot of work to get that done, and we were very, very lucky that we got the individual that we got to do the work, because she is excellent at her job, and she's proven her ability to bring this kind of business into the city of Pana over and over and over again. Second, in 2021, we had almost zero code enforcement. The city of Pana did not enforce code, and that is why the buildings uptown and homes around town were in a dilapidated or falling apart state. So we had to create a ordinance department to enforce code, to make people take care of their buildings or their houses or their property, so that they wouldn't fall into a disrepaired state, so that they weren't a threat to the community. So that was a big undertaking too. We wrote laws, not legislation, for the community to effectively take that role and enforce it, so that the town would clean up. You know, we've torn down 37 derelict houses in Pana. We've torn down dozens of derelict buildings in Pana. We've cleaned up our community because of those things. So those particular initiatives, along with our very, very active pursuit of grant money through our lobbyist group and through our economic development department, has brought in millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to the city of Pana that we were able to utilize to repair the things that the taxpayer, the local individual that lives here, can't pay for and shouldn't pay for. So I think at last count we were up to 5 million, 5.6 million, something like that. This one today probably knocks it up a little bit further, of grant funding that the federal government and the state is giving to the city of Pana, because it believes in the city of Pana to repair its infrastructure. And when we make these repairs, it will draw more business to Pana, because we can advertise that, hey, we have a whole new infrastructure underneath our city for your new business that you want to bring here. We can accommodate your factory. We can accommodate your restaurant. We can accommodate your store. And that will happen. It's a snowball effect, but we had to start somewhere. So starting with those programs that we initiated have seen a great, great success in our community. And it's evident to even the biggest skeptic in Pana. The town looks better. It's cleaner, it's nicer, it's more approachable. The buildings are now safe from collapsing in on one another or catching fire. They've got a new lease on life, and they have now had time bought for them to be able to find new businesses to go into. So those programs, along with our partnership with Moran Development and a pretty much unified council on board with doing these kind of projects, I see our town flourishing even farther, because in the past 4 years, the city of Pana has learned to walk again, to learn to stand, but I'm going to teach you how to run.
Well, I can tell you this, your community starts with your own place. So I keep my yard, I think, pretty nice. I also mow the boulevard across the street, way up. The city doesn't have to come down and mow, because I try to take care of it and keep it safe. So I try to help there. The best thing we can also do is help our neighbors. If when we had this terrible windstorm where all the stuff was blown down everywhere, everybody was trying to help everybody. And that's what makes this town such a special place, is because we were trying to help and do that. But as far as what I've done, I actually went and I've talked to some people about some prospects that we could possibly do to make things better. I can't really talk about all of them, because they asked me not to use that as a campaign, and I said that I wouldn't. But let's just say that there's some things that I have in mind that I think might really surprise some people with the benefits that we can have. I want to be actively involved with organizations like Painted Pride. I was able to be fortunate enough to hand out some candy canes. I had on my red coat and a hat, and one of the kids called me Santa. I don't know what that says about me, but it was a good time. We really enjoyed that. I want to not only address like our largest park, but I'd like to address our other parks as well, to try to make those as nice as we can for the folks that live near them. I just think beautifying things, I think working with citizen groups, which I would like to start, and I talked to my wife about this, and I said what I'd really like to do. I was inspired by a Facebook post. Excuse me. I was inspired by a Facebook post where an individual was asking for help with their snow removal. And I'm like, wouldn't it be nice if there was an organization in town, talk all day and talk all evening is rough on you, an organization in town where we could get together and go help people who couldn't afford to have that. So that's an initiative I would like to start. I don't know that would be directly tied to the city, or it would just be an act of goodwill among the people of the town. And I'm interested in things like that. It's a job about service, and if you go into this kind of thing, anybody that goes into any kind of politics, I'm not a politician, but I am a human being, and I realize that people need things. When you go into any kind of job, and if you look at it as an act of service, you do it with a different heart than if you look at it as something different. And that's the way I see this. So as far as what I'm going to do and what I have done is be good to your neighbor. I think that's one of the best things that we can do, all of us, is be good to your neighbor and try to help bring as much positive we can. I'm an active bird watcher, and I like things like that, and I like natural history, and I like butterflies, and I like movies, and I like the arts, and I like all of this stuff. I love the ideas of festivals to bring the community together, arts and craft shows. I think a lot of things can be done to make this place even more attractive than it is.